Welcome to day 3. Before we get into our recipes, I want to go over the equipment that we're going to be using today. I'm super excited because I got a new juicer. I'll be showing that to you, and I'll also be showing you my existing juicers. I didn't let the lack of not having a juicer stop me from juicing. In fact, I used to put everything in a blender with some water, blend it up in the blender, and then take a straining bag and strain out the juice that way and have my juice. So I was determined, needless to say. So I'm super excited. So let me show you what I started and now what I have progressed to. So this is one, and then I progressed up to a larger one. It has a larger mouth at the top to get more fruit in at the bottom. So that meant less cutting. So I really like that one. This one had more power, so it spun a little bit faster. Again, had a wide mouth and could hold more as well. And this is the one that I am excited about. It is what we call a cold press juicer, and it has slow RPM, which means rotations per minute. So what that does is it prevents heat from destroying the nutrients, and which causes the juices to last longer, and they don't spoil quickly. So I would just say start with where you are, use what you have until you can do better. That's what I did. So now let's get to the food. And we're back. We just talked about my brand new juicer that we're going to be using for our recipe, and behind it is our blender. We're going to also be using that for our recipe as well. So let's talk about the difference between the two. A blender blends everything up. It does not separate the juice from the fiber. On the other hand, a juicer does. So when we put the fruit or vegetable in the juicer, the juice comes out on this side and then the fiber comes out on this side. When I didn't have a juicer, I would put everything in the blender, and then I would get a mesh bag and I would pour that mixture in the bag and I would squeeze out the juice, leaving behind the fiber inside the bag. So in essence, the juicer is doing the exact same thing as if I was squeezing the juice through that mesh bag. Now, some may argue juicing is not healthy because you're taking away the fiber, and fiber is what we need, and fiber is healthy for us. Well, as you know, there's two types of fiber. There's soluble fiber and there's insoluble fiber. So when you put juice into a juicer, you're extracting the insoluble fiber. But inside the juice itself is soluble fiber. So when you're juicing, you still are getting the fiber. And when you eat foods, your body doesn't digest fiber anyway, the insoluble fiber. It just simply passes through the body. It's what keeps our digestion healthy by keeping the colon clean and keeping things moving. All right, so let's get on to our recipe. The star for today's recipe is Honeydew. I love honeydew because it's nice and sweet and it's very refreshing. Honeydew is loaded with vitamin C and is great to drink after a workout. It's about 90% water and it contains electrolytes. So the recipe for our juice today is simply honeydew, unadulterated honeydew juice. We're not going to add anything to it. And when I drink honeydew juice, it tastes like candy to me. It tastes like cotton candy. It is so good. I don't think you need to add anything to cantaloupe juice when you juice it. So we will do that. And we're going to juice honeydews, because I keep saying cantaloupe. If I say cantaloupe, you know I mean honeydew. Now, let's check out our raw food recipe. This is going to be a fun one because I'm excited about this one. We are going to be making honeydew coconut popsicles. Yes, you heard me. I have my popsicle molds right here. We're going to pour these into here. We're going to freeze them and then we're going to eat them. So the ingredients that we need for that, we're going to take one honeydew. We're going to chop it up into small pieces and then we're going to put that in the blender. Along with, we're going to use 1 cup coconut milk. We have some agave nectar as a sweetener. You could use honey if you want, or you can use maple syrup, just a little bit, about 2 tablespoons. We're going to use the juice of 2 limes. These are old limes, so disregard the color. You know, I don't like wasting food, and they're still pliable, so there's still juice in there. And also we need the zest from the limes. Now zest means that you take a grater, something like this, if you can see right there, and you just gently scrape the outside of the skin so that you can get the zest. Because you know, most citrus fruits like lemons, oranges, grapefruit, they have oils in them. It's very oily. So we want that flavor from the zest to get into the ice cream. Now sometimes I don't like using a zester because these things are hard to clean, and I feel like if I use the zest, I have to end up using double the amount just to get the amount of zest. So I use a shortcut. What I do is I take a knife and I gently scrape a thin layer of the skin off. And I do that because we're simply going to put it in the blender anyway. It's going to blend up and you won't even know that it's there. You won't even be able to see the chunks. So make sure you have a high-speed blender if you're going to do the peel. If you don't, then you can just go ahead and use a grater. And we're going to add some spices to our popsicle. Can you believe it? This is ground allspice and this is ground cloves. So all we need is a dash, right? And then we have some red raspberries that's just going to add some color, some decoration to our popsicles. So I'm going to cut up our pineapples. Sorry, we did pineapples yesterday. I'm going to cut up the honeydew, put it in the blender, and I'll be right back. Our honeydew is all cut up. Now we're going to put everything in the blender. So I'm going to start with about 3 cups. So I'm just going to use my hands to measure. 1, 2, and then we'll do 3. And I'm just saying that because of how much space I have in the blender. So I'm like, it could take a little bit more, I'll add a little bit more. Next we're going to take our coconut. It asks for about 1 cup of coconut. I would just say measure it as you go. Don't put it all in at once, but just gradually put it in. You know, pause it, stop it, taste it, and then that way we can see if we need more coconut. Now coconut oil, now this is a can of coconut. Typically when you buy a can of coconut, the oil and the water separates. So I poured my coconut in a bowl and just blended it up. I didn't try to get all the chunks out, but I just blended it up because coconut, it solidifies in cold temperature. So sometimes when you get coconut, a can of coconut, it'll be solid with the liquid on the bottom. So you just want to make sure, mash the chunks down and get it all blended in so that you can just pour it. Now, coconut is what we call, coconut oil is a saturated fat. And we know that we want to avoid a lot of saturated fat. Now, saturated fats are usually found in animal skin, animal meat, and 2 plant-based sources. Coconut oil and palm oil are vegetable-based, but they are saturated. And then some saturated fats are also found in dairy. What we want to do focus on is eat more polyunsaturated fats, or eat more unsaturated fats. And 2 types of unsaturated fats are polyunsaturated fats and monounsaturated fats. Polyunsaturated fats includes, can be found in oily fish like salmon and mackerel. That's where you get like your omega-3s from. And then your monounsaturated fats are found like in olives, your nuts, your seeds, olive oil. Okay, so even though this is saturated fat, you want to make sure that you're taking in more polyunsaturated fat and monosaturated fat. So we're just going to start with about 3/4 of a cup. And good fats help to lower your cholesterol and actually help to reduce your risk of heart disease. So don't avoid fats completely. We do need some amount of fat in our diet. And fat is one of those macronutrients. Carbs, proteins, and fats. Those are macronutrients. And they're called macros because we need a large number of those in our diet. Okay, what else is next? We got our sweetener. Again, I'm using agave nectar. So I'm just going to start out with a little bit and then we'll adjust as we go. We need the juice of 1 lime, 1 or 2 limes. So I'll start with 1. That's being really stubborn. So since I didn't get a lot of juice out of that one, I'm going to go ahead and stick in the other one. And just like I did yesterday, I put both of them together and give it one more squeeze. There we go. Got some more juice out that way. Whoops. Not this way. And of course we have to also add the lime zest. So I'm just going to add maybe 3 or 4 pieces. And then we're going to put in our spices. Ground allspice. And ground cloves. And just a dash, because these spices are very, very strong. So we're going to leave out the raspberries because we're going to use that for decoration. Now we're going to mix everything up in the blender. And again, because the honeydew is very watery, it shouldn't take that long. And just like that, everything's blended together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste to see if I need to add any more sweetener, if I need to add more coconut milk. And again, like earlier I said that coconut milk solidifies when it's cold, so that's going to help the popsicles freeze. And we want full fat coconut, meaning that we don't want to use reduced fat or low fat coconut. We want full fat regular coconut milk, because the fat is what's going to give it its creaminess. If you're using a low fat or reduced fat coconut milk, it's going to have more water in it, and when you freeze it, it's going to have more water crystals, and it's going to be more of like a slushy versus like a creamy sickle. So let's give this a taste. Wow, I can taste, it was a little weird at first, but when this freezes in the freezer and you're sucking it as a popsicle, man, that's going to be good. I think it just needs some more lime just to give it a little bit more spice. And I could taste the cinnamon, not the cinnamon, the cardamom and the allspice. The allspice and the ground cloves coming through. Man, that's really good. Maybe just a tad bit of sweetener. And it does have that coconutty flavor. So that is good. This is a nice summer treat. Just a few more pieces there. And while this is blending, I might go get some more spices to put in there. Man, I love that flavor. All right, here we go. Just enough time to make sure those lime peelings are blended up very well. So I did get some more spice because I love it, and I just wanted to come through a little bit more. Very good. For some reason, I think it could use one more lime juice. Let me go find another lime somewhere. There we go. I think the lime juice is going to be key, and just a little bit of those warming spices. Yes, because those first 2 limes really didn't give me a lot of juice, so I think that's what I'm missing. This one is coming out very generous. All right. We're not going to squeeze it a second time, just in case this is going to add some more. Sorry about the noise. A little bit more allspice and a little bit more ground cloves. Because really, the recipe only called for two cups of honeydew. And remember, I used 3 cups. So I have to adjust the seasonings accordingly. You didn't see that. You did not see my cantaloupe mixture splash all over the counter. All right. So let's check it now. Taste the lime juice. I need a little bit more coconut flavor. And instead of putting it in the, well, actually I do need to blend it because there may be some chunks of coconut that need to get blended down. This time I'll make sure the lid is on a little bit tighter. Okay. Let's check it now. I think it needs a little bit more coconut milk. You don't want to overdo it because once it solidifies, the flavors are going to come together really well. And you don't want it too sweet, but I'm just going to add just a tad more. I think this is going to do it. So you do really want that coconut flavor. So because you are going to be eating this as a popsicle. A little bit more sweetener. Now to be honest, the flavor is not coming through as well as I would like to. So I'm just going to grab the allspice and so I'm just going to put some more chunks in there. Now because I didn't add any more coconut milk, I'm just going to mix this in like this. I smell it. Smelling good. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put in the rest of these lime peels, or our lime zest that I peeled instead of zested, just to save some time. And because I put those peels in there, I'm going to have to blend it one more time. Yep. Just a little bit more. I think it may need a little bit more spices, but because I've been tasting it, I don't want to overdo it. Because, you know, once food has set for a while, just making sure those lemon peels got blended up really, really well. And I believe this is going to be it. That's good. That's good. One more thing. I'm just going to add the rest of this just to be on the safe side. All right, it's nice and creamy. And again, you might have to play with this recipe a couple of times just to get it exactly right. So here are our molds. I love these. And we're going to let these freeze up for about 4 to 6 hours. And I have this pour spout, so I'm just going to pour it right into there. And these are going to be so good. So I'm going to do half without the berries. What I'm going to do for the next 4, I'm just going to take, these are nice raw raspberries. So I'm just going to break it up and just put some in the bottom. And then put some more raspberries. So I'll do like a layer. Raspberry, coconut, raspberry. It'll give it a nice color and a nice a nice tart taste against the sweet. We're gonna pour half. Oh man, that's looking good already just by pouring it in. So half. We'll do some more raspberries. And I'm just taking a raspberry and I'm just crumbling it up pretty much. And then we'll fill to the top. All right. So now we put the lids in. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I am out of frame here. Let me back up. There we go. Now you can see. So we're just going to snap on the tops like this. So when it freezes, we just pull it out and we have our popsicle. So I'm going to pop these in the freezer, clean off this space, and then we're going to juice the rest of this bowl in our brand new juicer. So I'll be right back. So while the popsicles are in the freezer firming up, we're going to go ahead and juice this whole bowl of honeydew. And I have 2 big jars to fill it in this time. So this is the first time I've used this, so I'm going to be pretty excited, and you will be able to hear me talk while it's still on, and we will see what it does. So here's the top. We put the fruit in here, or we can slide it through here as well. So if it's too big to fit through the top, we can slide it in through here. So it's actually got 2 entry points, which is really cool. All right, here we go. Wow. You see the pulp coming out here? Now the juice is not coming out yet because I haven't flipped the switch. The juice is actually collecting inside here. Once this gets maybe halfway full, then I will flip the spout and it'll come out into the container. See how quiet that is? Alright, this is just about full, so I'm going to lift the spout. Look at that juice coming out. Can y'all see that? Oh, let me move this one over. Oh my gosh, can y'all see that? Okay, maybe I'll move this out of the way next time I do it. Ah. And this is so easy. Look, I'm just putting this in the tray and just scooting it to the back. And it's actually juicing faster than I can put it in there. Now when I've made cantaloupe juice before in my other juicers, it didn't come out this green. It's a nice green color. It would come out a little bit more white on the pale side. So now it's stuck, so I can use my plunger, push it down in there. Okay, so here comes the juice out of the spout. You can't see it, at least you can hear it. You can tell I'm loving this. And then since this is almost full, I can actually just go ahead and pour it into my container. Isn't that pretty? Look how green that is. To be honest, I've never seen, from my juicers, when I juice cantaloupe, never seen it that green before. So the beauty about this juicer, it retains the nutrients and it retains the flavor. So you're not getting like a watered down version of the fruit or the vegetable. And like I said, when I drink honeydew, if I say cantaloupe, I think I may have said cantaloupe a few times, I meant honeydew. when I drink honeydew juice, to me it tastes like candy. It's just such a natural sweetness to it. It's not too strong and not overpowering. Alright, it's full. Let's open up the spout. And the juice comes out. That's my favorite part. And look at the pulp. The pulp is really dry. Because the cantaloupe is a very watery fruit, you can actually just take this and maybe in your hands just squeeze out some more juice if you wanted to. But that's just too much work. But if we were juicing like vegetables, that pulp would be very, very dry. Because this is honeydew and very water rich, it's not taking much effort just to put it in and juicing it. But maybe with some vegetables, I might have to, add a little more elbow grease to it. Look, it's full. Oh wait, come back this way. This first jar is full. I'm gonna go to the second jar. And it's so effortless, like I almost feel like I don't want to plunge it because it's doing all the work for me. Gotta remember to open that spout so it doesn't overflow. Look how green that is. Yummy. And I can make, and this juice will last at least three to 4 days. So you just watched me juice about probably 2.5 cantaloupe, because I probably only use maybe a third or a half of the other cantaloupe for the popsicle. So before I pour the rest in there, I'm going to pour myself a glass. Yummy. Now you remember yesterday I talked about the foam? Look how minimum foam that is. And that's probably just from the cantaloupe because it's so watery. Isn't that beautiful? Let's get this. Alright. There we go. There's our juice for today. That's really, really good. When I buy my honeydew or any melons I buy, when I bring them from the store, I let them sit out on the counter at least 2 to 3 days so that they can ripen a little bit more and get a little bit more sweet. So I will be back with our popsicles. Our honeydew coconut popsicles are ready. What you want to do is run these under some hot water just for a few seconds. Run the water across the top to loosen up the tops and on the bottom as well. And then around the sides so you can twist and pull these out. Look at the color of those raspberries in there. Isn't that pretty? All right, so let's pop one of these out and give it a taste. There we go. Voila! Isn't that beautiful? That beautiful color from the strawberries. And I got a popsicle. So let's give it a taste. Oh man, that is amazing. That lime flavor is really coming through. The coconut milk is not overpowering. It's very flavorful. Now you don't taste the honeydew because of all the flavors that we put in there. This is delicious, and this is a nice summer treat. And these popsicle sticks usually go on sale during the summer anyway. So that is our recipe for the day. These are delicious. Sorry, you hear me smacking there. Alright, so now let's go to our Juice Advent board and pull out our word of encouragement for day 3. Okay, our word for today is da 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 da. Super. Drop in the comments below what super means to you. What is super about your life? Who is a superhero in your life? In the midst of this pandemic, we know that the essential workers, nurses, doctors, other people that are working, that are giving testing and in the labs getting the results, we refer to those as heroes, or superheroes rather. So drop in the comments below what super means to you, and I will talk to you soon.